On December 17, 2019, 3 elections will happen in the Republic of Ghana. Of the elections, there will be the usual district assembly elections, which will be for your assemblyman. There's another one that will be also for your unit committee member. The third one is a referendum, i.e. you have a single question to choose a yes or no on. And that is the crux of our conversation today. How is it going to go? The people in charge have been summoned here to give us some answers. After the break, I'll let you know who my guest is and how this conversation is supposed to enlighten you, whether or not you're going to vote yes or no. You welcome back. This is UPfront. My name is Raymond Alkwa. My guest today is the Honorable Osei Bonsuamwa. He's a member of Parliament. He's also the Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development. He's a lawyer, and I'm sure, I don't know if he still go to court, but some lawyers retire before they retire finally. But I hope you are doing well, sir.
I am. Thank you so much for having me here. I've been watching your program.
Wonderful.
Yes, it's good. Except that sometimes you come with the punch and you want to see how the person will receive it. I hope today you don't give me too many punches.
Well, I have done it.
Even though I'm a heavyweight now.
I get you. And I can see that. Now, December 17th.
Yes.
This is the first time we're going to have 3 elections on one day.
Yeah.
Tell us what all of these elections are about.
Well, by our constitution, and the Local Governance Act 2016, we're supposed to hold assembly elections every 4 years. So the last elections were held in 2015, September 1, 2015. And then the assembly elections are also supposed to go along with unit committee elections. Unit committee, meaning that every unit committee should have 5 persons who would assist in running the assembly, apart from the assembly member. So every 4 years, we are supposed to go through this. And by the EC's arrangement and calendar, they fixed 17 December 2019 for the elections. Now, we heard the President Kufuor, talking about it in Parliament.
Yeah.
He thinks that there should be a referendum. We'll come to that. But to save costs, we should try and hold this referendum on the day that we are holding the district level elections. Okay. So on that day, there will be a third box, and that box will be asking us about yes or no, whether there should be multi-party democracy at the local level, or we should still be in that state of no party at the assembly level and the one party at the DC level. So that's what we'll be doing on 17 December.
I thought the conversation has always been about we should get the district chief executives, municipal chief executives, and the metropolitan chief executives elected. Yes. Why is it more about whether or not we go partisan?
It's not really.
Yeah.
It's already partisan when it comes to district chief executives, or as we call MMDCs.
Contrary to the.
It's already partisan because, as far as we are concerned, once the president appoints these MMDCs, and then 30% are also appointed by the president, we have a partisan situation at the assembly level. So people should not create the impression that when it comes to the assembly, there's no partisanship. There's partisanship.
But the constitution...
what we even say is that it's a one-party situation, because it's only one party running all the districts.
I see.
It's only one party.
So there's a
260 MMDCs are appointed by the president. The president was elected on partisan basis, and then he chooses all these persons to test approval at the assemblies, and then they get to run. And as we speak, every member who's been appointed for the MMDC is a member of the New Patriotic Party. So I see it as a one-party system. So,
but the assembly members, the various elected assembly members, they are not elected on partisan basis.
70% is supposed to be on non-partisan basis.
Yes.
And the 30% appointed by the president in consultation with transitional authorities, as the Constitution says.
Very much so.
Now, we've practiced the system for over 30 years. 1988, PNDC Law 207, before we even had a constitutional rule. It was started that when it comes to the local level elections, district level elections, as we call it officially, the elections should be on non-partisan basis. We've practiced it for 30 years. When we entered into constitutional rule, 1992, we carried over the 1988-207 PNC law into our constitution. And it says clearly that when it comes to assembly elections, parties are supposed to stay away. Now, over the years, we of the New Patriotic Party noticed that this was an anomaly long ago, to the extent that in our 2000 manifesto, we said that we will elect MMDCs. By 2004, it appeared we were not too sure that we wanted to do it. And in the 8 years of President Kufuor's administration, it didn't happen. But we didn't stop there. We brought it back, especially when then President Mills set up a Constitution Review Commission, which went around the whole country, even went abroad, as to how we should look at our Constitution and look at the possible areas of amendment. It came out very clearly that at the district level, this concept of no party for assemblies and one party for chief executives is outmoded. I mean, most African countries who even came to learn decentralization, local governance from us, had abandoned it. So the recommendation in black and white was that we should look at amending this constitutional provision and amending our laws so that MMDCs will be elected. Now, the white paper 2012 said that no, they don't agree. And it became an issue for us that how can we spend over $10 million collating views of Ghanaians that indeed this is how we should go. And then the mere white paper would then come out to say that, no, we don't agree. We believe that. The then government of the day in 2012 said that they rather believe that 5 persons should be nominated by the president. And these 5 persons will go to Public Services Commission. And then 3 of them will be chosen to go and stand for elections. So that if I don't even believe in your manifesto, you, the president, you've nominated 3 persons, all of us in the district should vote for one of these 3 persons. So our response to this was that we will ensure direct elections of MMDCs. As the MPP brought it back in its manifesto and said that we will ensure direct elections of MMDCs vis-a-vis this indirect way of imposing people on us.
Okay, I get you.
And then
I'm seeing, and I'm reading specifically from your manifesto, specifically, and it says that the NPP will oversee the direct election of metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives within 24 months of election into office to coincide with the next district assembly elections in 2019.
Yes. And then when we came into office, thankfully, by the grace of the people of God, the people of Ghana and God, as I should say, thankfully, we came into office. And then the president, in his first State of the Nation address, said that he thinks that after consulting, we even need to enhance this process. And in enhancing this process, it means that whether we want to be hypocrites or not, multi-party system should run from top to bottom. Multi-party system should not end at the local level. Multi-party system at the national level. When it comes to MPs, multi-party system.
Was it part of the promises you made in your manifesto?
We were enhancing it. Instead of just
it's not
saying,
part of the promise you made.
Yes, instead of just saying that, I'm coming to that, instead of just saying direct elections, we are saying that parties should be allowed to take part in this process. Parties should be allowed to sponsor candidates and to sell their programs through these candidates.
For the election of assembly members?
For election of assembly members and for the election of MMDCs.
But what we are doing now,
so
what we will do on December 17th?
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So, in order for you to get parties to be involved in this process at the local level, a certain provision in the Constitution which says that political parties are free to bring out their programs, tell the whole world how they're going to manage the country, and sponsor candidates other than local government elections. That provision should be amended. And because it's an enshrined provision, the only way you can amend it is to go for a referendum. That is how come, apart from the fact that Article 2431, which gives the power to the president to appoint MMDCs, apart from the fact that we need to amend it in Parliament, which we are doing now, we are at the second reading stage.
It's not been done.
It's not been voted on because you need to test a second reading stage and to test a third reading stage before you say that it's been passed. Whilst we are going through that process, there should also be a referendum for the people of Ghana to decide whether the multi-party system, which we practice at the top, should also be brought down. If the people of Ghana turn out at least 40% and then 75% will say yes, and then it means that multi-party system has been brought to the grassroots. In which case, if you're going to elect MMDCs, it will not be free for all. We will not have 10 people, everybody bringing their own manifestos, that if you vote for me, this is what I'm going to do. But you're going to have organized, sanitized system where parties are allowed to choose their candidates, just like when we are choosing candidates for members of parliament.
So, to be clear, December 17,
yes,
we are not going to amend or vote on whether or not MMDC should be elected.
No. What we're going to do is to allow multi-party system at the local level once Parliament has passed that MMDC should be elected by universal adult suffrage.
So the manifesto promise.
Yes, it's been enhanced. It's been enhanced apart from direct elections. The direct elections is what we are tackling in Parliament.
Yes.
But beyond direct elections, we are saying that multi-party system should also be allowed to run throughout the whole system, not only at a certain point. Now, let's look at the
So this
assembly
enhancement is an afterthought?
Not necessarily. Once
I mean, but
once it's not in the
before the
once it's not in the manifesto.
I'm just looking at it plainly. It's an afterthought.
There's nothing wrong with an afterthought.
What informed this afterthought?
What informed this afterthought is the fact that, indeed, if you look at the assembly concept now, we have so much deficiency in what we're doing. I just picked an extract of the 2015 Assembly elections final observation report by Codeo. And if you read, they tell you that we live in a big lie in the sense that, one, we said the assembly elections are non-partisan, but parties line up behind the candidates. Parties sponsor candidates contrary to the constitution and the law.
That's in breach of the law.
Yes, that is what they have observed.
So political parties, including the one that you belong to,
yes,
that you have actively participated in these activities for a very long time.
Let me see how it's done. You know that maybe at an electoral area, because it's non-partisan, you have 5, 6, 7 persons who want to stand. So parties look at these persons and say that this person is more credible or more winnable candidate. Okay. Let's find a way of supporting that person. But we are not allowed to mount platforms. We can't go and stand on a platform and hold somebody's hand and say that this is our candidate, vote for him. So you avoid those things. But if you have any funding, if you have any message, if you have any grassroots campaign that you want to do, you end up doing for such persons. That's how come the General Secretary of NDC was able to say in 2016, in fact, the elections of 2015, that if you check the assemblies, they had about 60% of their members winning the assembly elections. But it's supposed to be non-partisan.
You've been director of elections of the MPP before?
No, I have been representing the MPP at IPAC
for
a very long time. I'm still a member of IPAC.
It's interesting. It actually means that you are aware of the breaches that the political parties have been engaging in.
I'm not the only person who is aware.
The General Secretary of the NDC is also aware.
No, the Constitution Review Commission pointed this out. Various reports. So Codeo in 2015 pointed this out.
I get you. So you are saying that when there's
a law being breached.
No, but you are a lawyer.
Yes.
A law is being breached.
Yes.
Instead of enforcing the law and dealing with those breaching the law,
you,
this law ought to be amended rather.
It's when you were able to determine that the law is being breached.
Yes, but you admit that it is being breached.
It's being breached because it's not easy to enforce it. It's not easy to enforce in the sense that nobody should have party symbols. Nobody should wear party colors. Nobody should be sponsored by a party. That thing is being followed. But what do you mean by sponsoring a candidate? Is it that I have to go and announce to the whole world that we are sponsoring this candidate? Or is it that on the quiet, I can find resources for such a person because I believe that the person belongs to my party and the person is a winnable candidate? How are you going to say that I've breached it? But my conduct and everything shows that what you have put down as the law is not something that you are able to enforce.
So,
that's
lawyer,
number one.
Lawyer, you're saying that people steal anyway.
Yes.
So decriminalize theft.
No, you are not the same.
Really,
They are not the same. It's when you are caught stealing that you can be prosecuted.
Yes.
Yes.
But you're saying that in this case, people are hardly caught.
People are not caught at all.
Because policemen see them and they look away. Because you are powerful political parties. You are the ones who wield power.
No, let's be practical. I sit in my house, somebody comes, I'm a candidate for the assembly elections. I know you belong to my party, this is what I want to do. Is that the case? Okay, this is what I can give to support you. I'm doing that because the person belongs to my party, not because the person is NDC. You understand? If I do that, have I openly showed support for him? Have I mounted a platform to campaign for him and hold his hand? Have I endorsed him using party colors as or symbols as a candidate? I haven't. But as I said, whether we like it or not, parties line up behind such candidates. And in assemblies,
Contrary to law.
in the assemblies, they're able to tell you who belongs where. Is it not a crime for somebody to belong to a party? They're able to tell you that after elections, this person belongs here, this person belongs here. And beyond that, with all due respect, we are not, or we don't seem to have the quality we had in mind when this assembly concept was muted. In the sense that...
It's not because we are re-centralizing instead of decentralizing.
No, what do you mean by re-centralizing?
Because probably executive power is still being in the hands of those of you in Accra and not down in my hometown.
That's not where I'm coming from at all.
That's not where you are coming from.
No.
We don't believe that that's what happened today.
Let me tell you.
That we have not achieved any devolution of a sort today as we speak.
We have.
We have devolution.
Yes, but it's not 100%. We have. We are talking about 100%. But what I'm saying is that if parties were allowed to nominate candidates, they will look at so many things. And we will likely to have qualitative assembly.
Really?
Yes, I believe that. Of course.
I mean, that is to say that the Parliament of Ghana is made up of very qualitative people.
By and large.
Really? You believe so?
Yes, I believe so.
You believe so?
Have you checked the backgrounds of those who are...
I have.
And you think that what percentage are not qualified to be there?
Shouldn't we check by their output rather?
No, not necessarily.
I mean, this parliament has had people, and with the greatest of respect, who cannot even put up a statement representing their colleagues in that particular house.
What percentage are you talking about?
Does that matter?
It matters.
That a grouping, no matter where they belong to in this part of the country, a grouping are represented by somebody who cannot stand up in the house and actually say anything.
Let me tell you
cannot contribute at the various levels.
Let me tell you this joke.
Okay.
They said there was a Supreme Court judge that people thought he was a fool.
I see.
To use that word. He said even fools need to be represented. That was his answer to them.
But this person is the representative.
What I'm saying is that people put up their names, they put up their candidature, and say that, vote for me to represent you. Parties are allowed to choose such candidates. Such candidates are chosen. They go to the electorate vote for them.
Okay.
You understand? And I'm saying that by that process, we are able to get a certain kind of quality as our democracy moves on. And I'm saying that at the assembly level because it's individualistic. Anybody wakes up, puts up a poster, and I heard somebody saying that you supply appointee to everybody. And then he's scot-free. Somebody who was interviewed, he said he'll make sure that gutters are tiled. And that's his personal manifesto.
To be fair, some who run for MPs make similarly wild claims about what they can do.
The party is able to check these things.
Really?
Yes,
They do. In every constituency across the length and breadth of this country. We saw those who were running for the, in the recent MPP elections, some people actually took cars there.
And what happened to them?
Took it to where the voting center to go and distribute.
They sent their cars back.
Yes, because the people did not vote for the president.
Certainly.
But it doesn't mean that that's not a practice on the ground. For anybody to conceive of an idea, qualified to actually be elected to represent a political party, and be able to do that, it's not different from what people are doing.
Let's divert the argument. What I'm saying is that the system which has been practiced for over 30 years, we've come to realize that if parties are allowed, as our democracy requires, to sponsor, nominate, and sponsor candidates for them to stand for these elections. One, there's some kind of sanity. Two, people will then speak on certain programs and manifestos.
Sanity?
Yes. People will then speak on certain programs and manifestos. This is a candidate for Party A, this is a candidate for Party B, Party C. This person is going independent. Okay. So, Party A, what is your program? What is your manifesto? This is our program for local governance. This is our manifesto for this particular...
So individuals cannot have manifestos?
Individuals can have manifestos. But I'm saying that...
Can people contest as independent candidates?
So, yes.
Yes, but what prevents a plethora of people from contesting as independent candidates in that election?
Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I'm saying that what you're saying is not cured by merely making it partisan.
No, in our wisdom, we have said that if we want to elect our leaders, at the national level, even at the parliamentary level. This is the process. And we are saying that nobody has been able to convince the average person. I will come to the average person because it's a very important thing. Nobody has been able to convince the average person that that system of just saying that anybody should run, or that system of saying that the president should appoint chief executives, over the years, over 30 years, has a superior situation.
Okay, two things. Can we separate the election of the DCs from the partisanship in this case? Because the two are not the same.
No, I'm not talking, what is partisanship?
I'm saying that
even if it's one party,
what is going to happen on December 17th? Yes. It's to allow political parties to sponsor people to contest the district assembly elections, contrary to the wisdom in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana since 1992 has been practiced. Yes. And then we have found that some areas could be modified. That's how we set up the Constitution.
Yeah, but the consensus really has been about we needed to elect what they call it. It was not really about making it partisan.
That's what I'm talking about, the average person. Average person in the sense that the latest Afrobarometer survey, 2017, released in 2018, showed that almost 70% think that MMDCs should be elected. And then...
I agree, MMDCs should be elected.
Because that was the question which was put to them. And then, when it came to whether it should be multi-party, a lower figure felt that it should be multi.
What percentage was it?
About 60%. And all the regions, if you look at the graph, it's only Upper West that felt that it should not be
on partisan basis.
That is so. It's the mood of the people. It's not just a few people sitting down and saying that, because it's been consistent. This 2015, before 2015, the 2010 Constitution Review Commission, other surveys, NCC did their own survey, and now Afrobarometer survey. New Year school, just a few people turned up. We sat down, we discussed the issues, we analyzed the issues. When it came to voting, almost 98% said that it's time to elect MMDCs, and then we should go the multi-party way. I don't say partisan, I say multi-party, because it's already partisan. Anybody who will say that the assembly thing is not partisan, maybe it's not appreciating what is going on.
Was there any wisdom in what the Constitution provided as the way forward? Was there any wisdom in it?
Well, some of us felt that the revolutionary era was transported into the constitutional era. Those who set up this assembly concept in 1988 said that no, this is how it should go. Even that time,
the grassroots
we
should be insulated from the bickering and the negatives and the bitter partisan.
That is the saddest part of statements people make, and I don't understand it. Let me show you.
You don't think it's true?
No.
You don't think that currently that the duopoly of the NPP and the NDC
listen, this same
has
argument
been a huge problem for this country.
This argument is
the
older than you.
divisive part of, yeah.
It's older than you.
I want to believe so.
Because?
But I'm very old too.
Yes, it's older than you because at independence,
yeah,
this thing was canvassed. By 62, 63, Ghana was a one-party state because they said multi-party system is divisive. We had a live president. We had a one-party state because they said other parties will bring bickering, other parties will divide the nation. All those arguments which were made.
Is the evidence today not the case?
No.
That we are divided on partisan lines in this country.
Well, what is wrong with being divided on partisan lines?
That it is detrimental and every Ghanaian sees to see policy in that direction.
If I argue with Okudieto Ablakwa on the floor of the house, and we come out, we are sitting at the table, drinking tea, and still arguing or discussing, is that the end of the world? Why should we have the same opinion? And if we don't have the same opinion, why should it be divisive? Why should people... Because this argument goes to the core of our democracy, that we can't be tolerant, we can't coexist, there should be no checks and balances. It's this same argument that the soldiers came and said that politics is not good for us. Revolutionaries came, redeemers came, a champion through his redemption turned into Unigov, saying that we should have union government because multi-party system is the worst thing to happen to us. We've gone full circle and we are practicing multi-party system for over 30 years. So why should we still bastardize multi-party system as if that's the craziest thing that should happen to us? Because I don't believe, I mean the only country practicing multi-party system. People have gone through even civil war and they are still doing multi-party system.
Many believe, and the writings are pretty clear on that, many believe that currently the system you're running is not yielding the fruits of the democratic practice that we want. That we are basically pretending that the democracy we have is the end in itself and not the means to an end.
I would say that we are not perfect, just like any system.
We are nowhere near perfect.
We're not perfect because we sit here every day, watch America and say, how did America bring up such a president?
Yeah, but
average person says,
if you don't take a similar, what they call destiny may before this day, at the path that we are traveling.
That is our democracy. That is what, indeed, it's majority.
Are you not worried about that?
I'm saying that we should do everything to refine our political system.
Yes.
But it's not doomsday. The glass is half full, it's not half empty. So if I hear people talking that this is the worst thing that happened to us and democracy is not good for us, what's the alternative? One party state, military rule, 11 years, no public accounts for even 6 months, no accountability when people preach accountability. As I sit here, everything you want to know, you the media, you have even pushed for right to information. Could you have done that under one party state or military rule? We should make progress. We wish we could even make progress faster. But people should not bastardize multi-party system. This is our democracy. Unless there's a better democracy for us. Others have practiced it. We are practicing it. We went for Constitutional Review Commission. We thought that we could even find a way of modifying some of this. Some have even suggested proportional representation because they think that duopoly is not happening.
It's a problem.
Yes,
but this government is not interested in that.
Not necessarily.
I'm sure you'd have pushed for it if you were, because you are pushing for things that you didn't put in your manifesto.
No, don't put it that way.
Oh, but it's true. I mean, this element of having to make it multi-party, it's not in the manifesto. It is when he came into power that he realized that we could do it. I have given you a
leeway that we could do proportional representation, and now you are saying that...
Oh, no, it has been part of the conversations on...
Alfred just recently even said it.
Yes.
He believes in this aspect, but he thinks that we could enrich it.
Because winner takes all is a problem.
That is why...
And you are entrenching the winner takes all system at the tail end of the district assembly.
I don't agree with you in the sense that if we were to do elections today for MMDCs, no one party can win all the positions.
We are not disputing the election part. And I think there's a general consensus in the country about election of district chief executives. Where the problem really is making the district assembly election part being clearly partisan and multi-partisan as you say it.
But what is wrong with multi-party system? That's what I want to know. I'm still not convinced.
You are not convinced that this has brought a lot more damage.
That multi-party system is better than is worse than one-party system.
No, that's not the alternative to it.
Yes.
It is because
So what is the
you insulate
alternative?
a certain grouping from the kind of breaking you do at the highest level, from the kind of divisive politics that have been engendered in the last 27 years between the NPP and the NDC.
Only in Ghana.
No, other countries have their own, but our democratic experience cannot be compared to others.
There's a situation.
For example, we are not comparing because we are not saying that Rwanda is a perfect example.
I'm saying that.
But states like Rwanda are making massive progress with their current system.
I'm saying that.
We're not saying that
you
you should
know how
copy
long
from those.
the leader of Rwanda has been in place. You know how long, or you don't want to appreciate that over 20 years running and.
That's the main reason why the state is progressing.
Could it happen in Ghana? Would we be allowed?
I'm asking whether you think that's the main reason why the state is progressing.
No.
Yeah,
we had 19 years of one party in government. We had 19 years.
Yeah, that's why the Rwandan system is different from our own.
Why?
Because we had individuals being there for some period of time, and yet the differences are clear.
I don't want us to divert attention to Rwandan democracy. With all due respect,
yes,
I don't
but
want us
you
to
brought in other examples elsewhere.
No, I didn't mention Rwanda.
Yes, but I'm saying there's an example elsewhere that is not just like our own.
Countries like Uganda.
Yes.
Countries like Cameroon.
I see.
Countries like Kenya.
I see.
South Africa. Nigeria. They've gone through this system.
Yeah. And they have so much progressed in their quest more than Rwanda, to be clear.
No, but I'm saying that
yes.
South Africa collapsed because the mayor of Joburg was from Democratic Alliance vis-a-vis ANC. South Africa collapsed. Go to Nairobi, the ruling government is not the one running the major cities. Has Kenya collapsed? UK, Boris Johnson, he was from opposition before he came to power. Labour, running London now. Meanwhile, they are not in power.
So how did you explain to the people that we promised you one thing and decided to do something different?
Sometimes when you enhance the promise, you don't need any excuses.
Really? This is an enhancement?
Enhancement. Because we said we would deliver election of MMDC.
Yes, and yet you proceed to do something else.
Not yet. That's why we're asking the people of Ghana. We are not imposing it on the people of Ghana. We are asking them that you have said over these years that is what should happen. Now we are bringing it to your doorstep. The Constitution says that
the people said over the years, but it was not captured in your manifesto. It didn't find expression in your, let's say, your social contract with the people. It didn't find expression in there.
And we said direct elections, and we think that direct elections would even be enhanced if you brought in a multi-party system. That is what we said, and that's what we are pushing. Apart
from what you say is the sanitized system that is going to happen,
yes,
which we all agree that merely because others are contesting on NPP and NDC ticket doesn't mean that there wouldn't be
there. Are not the only two parties.
Yes, of course, there's a plethora of political parties. Yes. The last time the electoral commission talked about, there were about 25 or so.
Yes.
Assuming all of these 25, was it not be equal to the same kind of unsanitized system you're talking about?
I mean, at least you have programs of all those who say that they are seeking to run a whole country, not a district. At least you have programs of those who want to run a whole country, but not a district.
But is it not because you think that the district ought to have people who understand and appreciate it, who can draft programs to meet their needs, that they are going to run on elections for them? So why should the rest of the country care about what I want to do for the people of, let's say, Japan?
So how are you going to do it for the people of Japan? You have to be elected in the first place.
Yes, but I'm presenting my manifesto as an individual. I don't need to do it on a political party slate.
There's nothing wrong with it.
In any case, independent candidates can win that particular seat.
There's nothing wrong with it. That's why you can go independent. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you are saying that parties are allowed to bring their programs, to mobilize people, to sponsor candidates, why are you saying that they should stop at a certain level?
So why do you think that this system merely bringing political parties on board will sanitize it, when indeed people can go on the independent leg?
No, nothing stops you. If for any reason, if Capital South, we put up candidates.
Yes.
And there's MPP, there's NDC, there's CPP.
And there are 15 independent candidates.
There are 15 independent candidates. If they think they can win the seat, so be it. That's what the people want. There's nothing wrong with it. So why do you say that individuals should go, but parties should not go? Then why are we forming parties? Why have we formed parties? Why do we think that parties are not capable of choosing people to run for districts? Why do we say so? When parties are able to choose MPs, parties are able to choose presidents, why can't they choose assembly member or DC? Why do you bar parties from that? Then why are we doing this kind of democracy?
Has your political party always believed in making the partisan and multi-party system run down? Always.
Always. That's why I said as far back as 2000.
Okay.
We said we should elect MMDC.
But it was abandoned. No, not election of the MMDCs.
Yes.
I'm talking about the partisan one.
Well, I think so. Because we have always believed the multi-party system. Unfortunately, in 1992, when we went for a referendum, the Constitution was take it or leave it. And we thought that what was in the Constitution would enhance our democracy. So if we said we're going to vote no, that means the military will perpetuate, to go on. And then we decided that, no, some didn't like the transitional provisions, some didn't like other aspects of the Constitution, but in totality, we went for the Constitution, even with this situation. And those who thought maybe were just complaining, we've practiced this for 30 years. I'm saying that I don't think that we've seen enough benefits from this system that we've practiced.
And merely putting in the political parties will make us see the benefits.
It's not merely in the sense that if we are sharing power and there's checks and balances, what is wrong with it? If the president, who has the power under the Constitution, can appoint 260 MMDCs, and he's saying that I'm leading this charge, I'm at the forefront to let multi-party rule at the local level. So be it if MPP does not get all the 260 Cs.
Is there excessive partisanship in this country? You think so?
Well, probably media is part of it. You make it look excessive.
We in the media?
Yes, you are part of it.
We are the ones who make it look excessive.
Sometimes you are more than promoters.
Oh, I see.
You call one person here before the person ends. Hey, this one is on the line.
So we are the
this one is. Do you know what this man is saying?
But we don't force you to say things.
Of course.
We don't.
Of course. What I'm saying is that I don't think there's.
But you don't agree that there's excessive.
No. When I look at politics elsewhere.
But that's the prevailing opinion of academia in this country.
Politics elsewhere. When I wake up every morning, I look through stations and then go and look through other stations abroad. I don't think we are so exceptional. I don't see why we paint that picture that democracy in Ghana is the worst thing that happened to us. If you look at even the established democracies and the way they run their things, I don't think we are doing badly at all.
There's a direct concern from the burnout for regional branch of the Ghana Federation of Persons with Disability.
Yes.
They are asking Ghanaians to vote no in the upcoming referendum on political party participation in district assembly elections.
Okay.
According to them, accessing their portion of the district assembly common fund at the current state of the district assembly is a challenge.
Yes.
And it will be more difficult if the Metropolitan District Chief Executive are voted for on party lines. This is the argument of the people who are disabled. Did you consult them? Obviously not.
Oh, we went around the whole country.
You didn't consult them?
We consulted them.
Really? The Federation of the...
We invited all groups, students, religious leaders, traditional rulers.
So you're saying that the persons
yes.
They were invited?
Yes.
But the people are saying that they don't want your system.
No, they have a right to say it.
They
have a right to say it.
Did they concur to this proposal?
They have different views.
Did they concur?
As a body,
yes.
they haven't come out to say yes or no until what you're reading. As a body, they haven't come out to say that we agree with you 100% or we don't agree with 100%.
Are such persons with special needs important to that system?
Let's make progress.
Are they important to that system? The persons with special needs.
Yes.
Are they critical to our democratic practice?
Yes, very.
Their voice
doesn't matter. That's why we have even enhanced their access to some aspects of the common fund. We have increased even the percentage.
They say that they're not accessing it. It is very difficult for them to access it.
No.
Has it been released to them?
The system has been streamlined so much.
Has it been released to them?
Yes. It comes along with the common fund. The system has been streamlined so much that as districts have been asked to form committees, and these committees then identify them based on applications that they've made, and then what they need for them to move on. Just recently, during our draft festival, our district, we organized ours. Those who had defeasers had defeasers. Those who have commerce had commerce. Those who wanted fees to be paid, they all had them. So if you tell me that if the person is elected, it will be difficult for you to access, I don't understand. In any way, in any case.
This declaration, can I read to you his declaration?
Yes.
It says, we wish they will vote no to help our district assemblies to be non-political. When some of our members apply for the persons with disability funds in certain parts of the country, your application is put aside when you don't belong to a certain party.
Okay.
They're saying that if it is now established that the DC here is an NPP DC, and the person goes and the person is believed, the shape of the head of the person looks like an NDC, it is more likely the person will be denied access to it.
Are you saying that now we don't have NPP DCs? 260.
No, but he's
Not
saying
even
that it will be
259.
worse off when it is done that way.
Why would it be worse off?
You don't seem to think that their concerns are legitimate.
No, I mean, you may have concerns, but if this is the reason, then I don't agree with you. That when the MPP DC sees your head as NDC, he will not let you. It's a committee at the assembly level. The committee is made up of all shades. It's a committee which will then evaluate your request and then recommend that this is how we should do it. Previously, the money will even come, nobody will see where the money will pass. We have come to streamline it, and these committees have been set up, and every assembly makes it a point to showcase what they've been able to do when it comes to persons with disabilities. So you don't say that because we are doing multi-party. In any case, in this democracy, when you don't feel comfortable, you think that the law is being flouted, you go to court. I mean, and people are ready to test the law.
There's a reason why that federation has members who are extremely poor people.
Beyond going to court.
Having legal access is not very easy at all.
Beyond going to court, they have people like you to speak for them.
Yeah, that's why I'm raising this concern.
Yes.
So, and I thought that you would have said, okay, let's take a back seat. Let's see how we can address some of these concerns, rather than making it look like the persons with disabilities, they don't matter. And that their views and their concerns don't matter.
How can you say that?
No, because it sounds to me that...
No. You are bringing one issue that they will not have access to their fund because,
they are insisting
because there will be more multi-party system. I'm saying that I don't agree with that issue. Doesn't mean I look down on them.
No,
I don't look down on them.
I'm not saying that you look down on them.
No, you said instead of I'm brushing them away.
You're not taking their concern on
board. No. I'm saying that I don't agree with that concern. Don't have a right.
I agree with you.
Yes.
But
they are
as somebody in the ministry, won't you help them access these, brother? Won't you rather say that, okay, we have heard their concerns, we are going to work on it to make it better, even if we go partisan?
Why not? Why not? But don't equate it with that issue that the moment they say that we are going multi-party, then they will not have access to their fund. And you think that I will agree? I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
The Honorable Benjamin Podo, together with some minority MPs, are accusing government.
I thought we came for a referendum.
Yes,
not
it is connected to it.
Oh, I'm ready for it. I just spoke on radio, so I'm ready for it.
They are saying that they will block the 2020 budget for a simple reason, that you're not releasing common funds to the people. Why are you not concentrating on releasing common funds and seeking among others to put partisanship and multi-party system down there?
Beyond talking about referendum, we are doing so many things.
Oh, I see.
So many things. It's not mutually exclusive. So you don't say that because we are doing referendum, we should rather stop referendum and concentrate on paying common fund. It's not mutually exclusive.
I get you.
We brought urban policy, we brought rural policy, we brought other developments. It doesn't mean that because we are doing referendum, that's the only thing we are doing. In any case, what is the issue about common fund? Common fund, as I speak, I spoke on radio. I spoke to my DC today. What is your situation on the ground? Because sometimes when we speak, people will think that because we are speaking for government. Instead of, we had a first quarter. Apart from first quarter, we had the State Development Fund, which had not been paid for a long time at the NDC because we were in arrears with donor partners. It took this government to come and look for $20 million to push this partnership arrangement for donors to also bring their part, for us to have what we have, this we call the State Development Fund. So we've had our first quarter, he told me, we've had our State Development Fund, which was even bigger than the Common Fund. We have had our second quarter. I've just seen the advice, that's what he told me, the second quarter has come.
That's what, who told you?
My district chief executive.
Today. But you are a minister in the, what they call it, local government ministry.
Yes.
This information you should get to know from central government level.
No, I'm just
confirming that it is rich.
I'm just quoting so that you can call to confirm.
Confirm, okay, very much so. And that's something that we'll be able to do quickly. Yes.
You call him, I can give you his number and everything. He will tell you how much is it, 321. How much is the DD, this development fund, over 500. We hear that another district development fund is coming. And then I'm saying that for last quarter of the year, what is due is paid the following year.
Okay.
And for the third quarter, we are saying that between now and December, we should fulfill the third quarter. And we would have fulfilled what is just for the year. So if you say you want to block the budget, We'll meet you in Parliament.
You are saying that they don't have the numbers to block the Parliament?
No, we'll meet you in Parliament.
Yeah,
not in
that's
court.
what it looks like. You are very boldly saying that. I mean, who are you to block budget when you don't have the numbers?
You are quoting them. They say they will block budget.
Yes,
and I'm saying that we will meet them in Parliament. Maybe superior argument.
You bulldoze your way through.
Oh, democracy is not about bulldozing.
You would rubber stamp the
democracy
budget.
is not about rubber stamping.
Really?
No. If you come to Parliament, you see how we debate, you see that it's not about rubber stamping.
I see. Now,
especially if you're at the committee level.
So, are you saying that the claim that since April this year, government has refused to release allocations to district assemblies in spite of the parliamentary approval, it's not true?
In the first place, I don't subscribe to the word refused.
Failed. Okay, failed is a better expression if you like.
And I'm saying that the second quarter to the assemblies have been released. This morning, I was on TV with Podu, who was head on air. He brought up issue. I asked him, have you checked with the assemblies? He said, oh, I haven't checked, but I know that they haven't released it. I said, check with the assemblies. Check with the assemblies.
When was it released? Specific date?
Well, that's why some of the assemblies are now receiving the advice.
When was the money released? Oh, they were not released on block?
No, that's the last week. They were releasing them.
Oh, okay.
Yes. That's the last week. I've spoken to those in charge at the Common Fund, and they are saying that this is what we've done. To confirm, I said, speak to the assemblies, speak to the DCs. They will tell you.
So, as we speak today, all accrued funds since April has been released?
Since April?
Yes.
Yes. The third quarter, strictly speaking, you will say that by September, the third quarter should have ended. But what happens is that we have to go through some auditing. You don't collect and send the gross, 5% of the gross. There are some deductions which have to be made. And then it is paid to the Common Fund, and they also use their formula to send it. But today's business is the referendum, so we'll have another time for Common Fund. Let's talk about referendum.
There's a question about this Assembly Common Fund and the capping that happened.
It's been sent to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has ruled that the capping should be removed. That's the end of the matter.
Has it been removed?
Yes, they're supposed to comply with it. So in the budget...
They are complying already?
Yes, the Minister of Finance is supposed to comply. He doesn't have any option unless he goes back to Supreme Court for review. So the Supreme Court has ruled that you...
I just want to know whether it's being implemented.
No, the point is that you brought a law to Parliament on capping. Parliament approved it. Some persons went to court and said that this law is inconsistent with the Constitution. Supreme Court has agreed with them. So the Minister of Finance has no option than to remove the capping when it comes to this Assembly Common Fund only, not other capping.
That's true.
So the budget should reflect that. The budget.
So 2020 budget's going to be the one. Okay.
Yes, the budget in 2020 come next week will reflect that, and then the formula early next year would also have to reflect that.
Okay.
That when it comes to this Assembly Common Fund,
will they take retroactive effect? Will they go into the beginning of the year? Since it's the year talking about.
That's not what the Supreme Court ruled on.
I see.
Yes.
Now, let me conclude the conversation
on the referendum.
Yes.
Hopefully not about capping.
Since I have you here,
hopefully not about capping.
I don't get you all the time. So if I have you,
anytime you want to be, I will come.
I get you. So okay, I'll stay.
I've been watching you and your punches.
Yeah. But today I've not delivered any of those. It's been a very convenient.
No, probably the knockout hasn't come.
So the question I'm actually asking here is that on December 17th, when we don't have the 40% turn up to come and vote, what happens to the question?
The question would have failed. The Constitution is very clear. Get 40% of the electorate to turn out. And the 40% who turn out get 75% to endorse it. That's the end of the matter. So, end of story. And I'm saying that we are very hopeful that...
Would that be financial loss to the state?
That
we organize elections with money?
But that's part of democracy. That you go for a referendum and the no wins. That's part of democracy. The referendum have been heard all over the place. They even said YouGov had won when YouGov had lost.
But that is in the... So we're talking about what is currently the case.
Brexit, they are still even grappling with Brexit. They have to go for another election. But what I'm saying is that it's part of democracy. Indeed, the Constitution Review Commission report, if we had implemented it, would have gone for a referendum for a number of issues. some of us think that that should not be the way to go. Some of us think that we should all agree, look at the constitution, look at areas that we think we need modification, and then we have another document and present it to the people that let's vote on this document. This is a new constitution as against the 1992 one. Instead of picking each item and asking for the question.
Referendum
how are we going to?
And
how are we going to manage that?
And funding elections through that.
Yes, there are so many issues in the constitution. Some non-entrenched, which can be handled by Parliament.
Okay.
Several others too entrenched. And if we need to work on them, why don't we have one holistic?
What is on the heart of many people? When is that going to happen? When can they elect their district chief executives?
When can people elect their district?
Yes,
that's by the roadmap. What we're doing is that we have
because this your roadmap is in breach of your own, what they call it, manifesto.
Enhanced manifesto. Now that too is a sin.
No, I'm saying that your roadmap, your manifesto said that you are going to oversee the direct election of Metropolitan District Chief Executive within 24 months of election into office.
To coincide with the district level election.
Yes, but district level election is going to happen in December.
Yes.
Your election of DC is not going to happen by that time.
It will happen in 2021.
It will happen in 2021.
Yes, that's the roadmap. What we are saying is
so clearly, this is an unfulfilled promise in this case.
By 2019. If you take it that way,
but that's what the manifesto
said. And you not take that side, we don't have any problem.
By the end of this year, I cannot take that you have.
We don't have any problem.
And instead of concentrating on this one, you are doing other things. That's a proposed problem.
No, we are not concentrating on. We are enhancing it. We have passed this stage. We've discussed. We've passed this stage. What I'm saying is that come December 17. Most people think that multi-party system should come to the grassroots to deepen democracy, to deepen accountability, and also to enhance local governance.
How is getting political parties involved going to deepen accountability?
Nobody is saying that just merely by getting political parties.
But you're saying it's to deepen accountability.
Yes.
How does it do so?
What it does is that people are put forward by those who have been mandated to put people forward, and then they send their message.
Who has been mandated to put people forward in this country?
Parties.
But anybody can put up anybody forward in this country.
Nobody stops you.
Yeah, but the mandate has not been solely given to political parties.
Our own constitution says that political parties are free to be formed. Political parties can sponsor candidates. Political parties can disseminate their programs. Political parties can put together.
Forgive me, what I'm asking you to justify to me is why you say to engender accountability. Merely by making political parties be the ones deciding candidates.
No, that is not what it is. First, we are talking about election.
Yes. Election. But election can happen without the political parties, right?
We are saying that election will be enhanced, election will be streamlined, elections will be sanitized. The democracy will be the winner if we allow political parties to also sponsor candidates. The individuals can go ahead and
it's too late to change government's mind on this matter. It's too late, right?
Oh, it's not about changing government's mind. It's about what government believes in and what the good people of Ghana believe in. And how.
Is there any other thing we should expect from the local government ministry, which is not in the manifesto of the party? Any other surprise?
Oh, I don't know.
An enhancement of a sort.
I don't know what you mean by surprise at this stage or surprise since 2017.
No, surprise, yes.
Because this thing has been said since 2017.
Yes, I'm asking whether we should expect anything. No, I'm saying that, no, I'm saying that. Is there any other thing that you are going to enhance?
Oh, a lot. Several things will come. As we push this out, when we do meet the press, we're able to outline what the ministry has done so far.
I get you. The fulfillment of your manifesto promises, what percentage have you done so far in terms of the local government ministry?
Local government ministry? Yeah. I don't want to mark myself, but I would rather say we have overachieved. We are underpromised and we have overachieved.
Percentage achieved so far?
I don't believe in these percentages.
But you can count the promises you made there. I'm just asking you.
We have met more than what we even put there. We didn't say we'll talk about rural development policy. We have met that.
Folks, that's when we end today's edition of UPfront. My guest is the Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, the Honorable Osebo Suamwa. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for coming.